Hi, welcome to the collection hands-on. Today we'll be seeing the set, list and map classes that we have learned in the last 4 sessions in action. For this, let's assume that we are working on an e-commerce application like Amazon.com, and the current module we are working on is the administrator module. Using this, the website administrator can look at the new customers that have registered for our web application today, the new items that were added for sale, and also the list of orders per customer. The Eclipse project looks very simple. It has 3 DTOs. The customer DTO, which has the name and an ID. A DTO is a simple plain Java object with variables and setter getter methods, and the main purpose of a data transfer object, as the name itself indicates, is to transfer data across the J2EE tiers. So we retrieve the data from the database in the database tier, then load it into a DTO. We might add it into a collection class like a set or a list, then hand it over to the business layer, which can do any business validation if required, and then hands this collection over to the web layer. The web layer iterates over this collection, retrieves each DTO out of the collection, and then uses the information within the DTO to display it to the user. So that's the purpose of a data transfer object. And in some projects, we also call this as the VOs, or the value objects. So the customer has the name and the ID. The order has an ID and a list of items that are a part of this particular order, and the item has an ID, a name and a price. So we have 3 simple e-commerce classes here, and let's look at how our collection classes use these DTOs to display the appropriate information to the administrator. The set class, as you know by now, doesn't allow duplicates. All these demo classes have 2 methods, one which builds the collection, and the second method displays the data within the collection. So here we are building a hash set. We are assigning it to a customer's set variable. It has 3 customers, as you can see. We set the name and then add that customer. We give it an ID and then add that customer to the customers list. Now if we run this, it should display 3 customers for us. Let's run this. As you can see, it only displays 2, proving that set doesn't allow duplicates, and the reason being the ID we are setting on customer 2 and the customer 3 is 2. And if you go back and see at the customers class, we have overridden the equals method, which checks if the IDs are same, then it means those 2 objects are equal, and set, if you remember, uses the equals method that you override to make sure that 2 objects that are getting added to a set are not duplicates, and that's exactly what is happening here. If I change this ID to 3, save it, and then if I rerun this class, you see that it displays 3 customers now, and there is no duplication. Let's go back and look at the equals method again. So as you can see, the equals method returns a boolean, which is a true or a false. If 2 objects are equal, then it returns a true, otherwise it returns a false. The first line here is we make sure that the object type that comes in is of type customer. You do that using the instance of operator. If you don't do it, and if you try to typecast it, and what's being used is if the object that comes in belongs to a different class, then you will see a class cast exception. We typecast the object that comes in into the customer class, and then we compare the IDs of the object that gets passed in and the ID of the object that is calling the equals method. And if you see, the hash code implementation is very simple. All I am doing is I am multiplying the ID with 9, and I return this, and the hash code value is used by the classes like hash set and hash map when we add elements to them. So let's move on to the list demo. As you remember, list always maintains an order, and what I have here is two methods again. One that builds the list of orders, and the order in turn has a list of items. Sorry, this doesn't have a list of orders. We are creating an order object here which has a list of items. As you can see, the list has two objects here, book 1 and book 2, and when I run this, the display method uses the for each syntax or the looping statement, which iterates over all the items within that list and then displays the ID and name for a particular item. In the olden days, like in Java 1.4, we didn't have the for each looping statement, and we had to retrieve the iterator and then typecast each element within the iterator and then display the details. But with Java 1.5, using for each has made it a lot easier to iterate over a collection and then retrieve the details of each object. So that's list. And we have talked about the collections class, which has the utility methods a lot. Let's see that in action too. All I'm doing here is I'm invoking the collections.reverse method. Let's import the collections class from Java util. The reverse method reverses the list. Right now we are adding book 1 first and book 2 next, but when we call the reverse method, as you can see, it reverses the order. Book 2 comes first and then book 1, and as you can see, list also allows duplicates. I am adding the personal development book twice and it doesn't care, it just displays it twice, and it allows us to add duplicates. And I want you to go through the collections class and its utility methods. I have posted the links to this on the blog post for this hands-on. The last collections class we'll be looking at is the map demo. What we'll do here is we retrieve the orders for a customer and then add these orders to a list, and then we'll build a map which has the key for this map is the name of the customer, which in this case is Bharat, and the value is a list of orders for this customer. So I create an order, the order has items in turn, then I add these orders to a map, and the key is the customer name, which is Bharat. And the display method retrieves the list of orders from the map, iterates over the list, gets the items from the order, and then iterates over the list of items. Remember, the better the hash code method is, the easier it will be, or the quicker your application and the hash map and hash set classes will perform. So it's that simple to add objects to the collection classes and then retrieve them and use them for displaying to the customer. And as you can see, the variables on the left side, when you declare a list or a map or a set, the variables on the left hand side should always be the interfaces and not the actual classes. This will help the users of your methods to pass in any implementations. Instead of hard coding it to a hash map or a linked hash map, you will allow the users of your methods to pass in any types of lists, maps, and sets, and that's more like a runtime polymorphism. The next session is on Java exception handling, where you will know what an exception is, how to handle them, and the exception class hierarchy. Until then, keep sharing and learning. And I have also posted this this project, this hands-on collections hands-on project on my blog post. Download it, unzip it, import it into your Eclipse and play around with these classes, and also try the different methods on the set, list and map interfaces. I have posted these links again on the blog post for this hands-on. See you in the next session. Thanks for watching.